The first person to object to the Mawlid, let's go back in time. The Mawlid was first introduced by the pious king of Irbil and brother-in-law of the famous Ash'ari scholar Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. He would gather Muslims annually to feed them, thanking Allah for the Prophet's birth, and at his time, not a single scholar objected. These are just a few of the scholars who spoke about the Mawlid. The most famous interpreter of Sahih al-Bukhari, Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, with all his knowledge, he deemed it permissible. Al-Hafidh al-Suyuti, one of the elite scholars of Islam, not only did he deem it permissible, but he authored an entire book praising the Mawlid. But then a man named Ibn Taymiyyah came along, and he said in his book Iqtida' al-Sirat al-Mustaqim that glorifying the birth of the Prophet and making it an annual celebration has great rewards. So the first person to object to the Mawlid was... Who was the first person?
متن منظومة رياض الجنة في عقيدة أهل السنة، نظم فضيلة الشيخ أحمد بن علي حمود حبيبي الحازمي.
الحمد لله الذي قد أرسل رسوله محمدا خير الملا.
الحمد لله الذي قد أرسل رسوله محمدا خير الملا، أرسله إلى عموم الناس بالدين والهدى بلا التباس. ثم صلاة الله والسلام على نبي دينه الإسلام، والآل والصحب ومن لهم تبع محبة لله فيما قد شرع. وبعد إن هذه منظومة أبياتها قليلة معلومة، إجابة لدعوة الطلاب ورغبة في الخير والثواب. سميتها اسما برياض الجنة، حاوية عقيدة أهل السنة، قد جمعت مسائل التوحيد والواجب الحق على العبيد. وإن يكن في عمرنا بقية ومدد من خالق البرية، فشرحها مؤكد علينا والله نرجوه بأن يعينا. ومبدأ العقيدة الإيمان كما أتى بذلك القرآن، أولها الإيمان بالله وما يليه من ملائك قد علم، وبعده الكتاب ثم الرسل والبعث والتقدير يا ذا تكمل. الله قد جعلها أركان، من يحويها فقد حوى الإيمان، ومن لها أو بعضها قد جحد فحكمه الكفر كما قد ورد. فقد أتى بذلك التنزيل كما أتى نصا به جبريل. ثم النبي للأصول فصل، ومن أتى بغيره لن يقبل. وظاهرا وباطنا نسلم للوحي طرا وله نقدم. ومن يرى دينا سوى الإسلام فكفره حق بلا إيهام. والذوق والكشف مع القياس أو قول شيخ أو إمام الناس، نرده إن عارض الكتاب أو سنة أو منع الصواب. ولا يعارض صريح العقل نصا صحيحا ثابتا في النقل. وإن يكن نص أتى قطعيا فلا يعارض مثله شرعيا. وعصمة الأمة مقطوع بها مجموعة وبدعة لا نأتها. ولا جدال عندنا في الدين وإنما بحكمة ولين. ولا نقول دون علم إنما نؤكل العلم إلى من علم. طريقة النصوص في الصفات الجمع بين النفي والإثبات، نجمل في النفي وفي التفصيل لمثبت قد جاء في التنزيل. فما لإثبات ونفي قد ورد نثبته برغم أنف من جحد. ونصف الله بما قد وصف لنفسه وحسبنا ذا وكفى. وما له قد أثبت الرسول نثبته نصا ولا نميل. وما نفاه الله أو رسوله ننفيه عنه ليس شيئا مثله، من دون تكييف ولا تمثيل ودون تحريف ولا تعطيل. وحيثما قد عدم الدليل فأصلنا التوقيف والتفصيل. فإن فإن يكن فيما نقول مدحا فحقه الإثبات قولا صحا، وإن يكن نقصا فجل وعلا عن كل عيب أو مثيل في الملا. والنفي لا يكون مدحا فاعلمي إلا إذا احتوى كمالا فافهمي. وواحد فرد وليس مثله في الذات أو في الوصف أنداد له، وليس شيئا يا ترى يعجزه، وكل شيء شاءه قدره. وكل شيء ممكن قد يخلق، وغير ممكن محالا يخلق. ودون حاجة لخلقه خلق، ودون مؤنة تعالى قد رزق. يحيي يميت دون ما عنائي، وباعث الخلق بلا مرائي. له مقاليد الأمور وحده، ولا شفيع دون إذن عنده. سبحانه فما يشاء يفعل، وما يريده يقينا يحصل.
This guy here, Zahab, who is claiming that Ibn Taymiyyah said that whoever celebrates Mawlid al-Nabawi will be rewarded. And this is completely false, because Ibn Taymiyyah, as we showed you in the previous videos, in the previous pages, scans of his in his book, he clearly claims that Mawlid al-Nabawi is bid'ah, and that if a person really gets rewarded for it, the Salaf would have been the first people to do it, because they are more rightful to be careful at committing very good deeds that have very good rewards. But sadly, Ibn Taymiyyah viewed it as a bid'ah. And the problem is, Ibn Taymiyyah said that those who are jahils, those who are ignorant, and even if they're ignorant and they do ijtihad, and then it turns out their ijtihad is a bid'ah while not being informed, so the burden of proof, the hujjah, was not established upon them, there is no burden of proof upon them, then if that's the case, they will be rewarded regarding their pure intention. Husn al-qasd here means pure intention. And we'll see, if you go back to my previous video of Brother Rahab Refuted, part 1, the first one, where I refuted him completely, you can clearly see that through what Ibn Taymiyyah said. And I'll just play it here. So as you can see here, okay, I posted the video here. Ibn Taymiyyah says in the book Iqtida' as-Sirat al-Mustaqim, volume 2, page 123, Ibn Taymiyyah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَا يُحْدِثُهُ بَعْضُ النَّاسِ إما مضاهاة للنصارى في ميلاد عيسى عليه السلام، وإما محبة للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وتعظيما. Clearly Ibn Taymiyyah says, and this is when the people, with regards to what the people introduce of some bid'ahs, either if they are imitating the Christians regarding when the Christians celebrate the birthday of Jesus, Christmas, or either they do this because they have love for the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم and veneration. وَاللَّهُ قَدْ يُثِيبُهُمْ عَلَى هَذِهِ الْمَحَبَّةِ وَالْإِجْتِهَادِ. But Allah may reward these ignorant innovators, regarding the love of the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم and their ijtihad. لا على البدع من اتخاذ مولد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عيدا. But He will not reward them regarding them taking the birthday of Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم as a Eid, while it's an innovation. He says لا على البدع من اتخاذ مولد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عيدا مع اختلاف الناس في مولده. And even though all scholars have different views regarding when the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم was born. فإن هذا لم يفعله السلف. The Salaf never celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم مع قيام المقتدي له وعدم المانع منه لو كان خيرا. If it was good, if there's good in it, they would have done it. The Salaf would have done it. ولو كان خيرا محضا أو راجحا كان السلف أحق به منا. And if there was any good, which means Ibn Taymiyyah doesn't view that Mawlid Nabi there is good in it. He says if there was any good in it, then the Salaf will be the first people to celebrate it. They are more worthy of celebrating it than us. Why? فإنهم كانوا أشد محبة للرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وتعظيما له منا. For indeed the Salaf loved the Prophet more than us, and they venerated the Prophet more than us. وهم على الخير أحرص, and they are more careful of following what is good, of following the khair more than us. But they never did that. They never celebrated the Prophet. Ibn Taymiyyah says, وإنما كمال محبته وتعظيمه في متابعته وطاعته واتباع أمره. Rather, what is the complete love and veneration in the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is by following him, obeying him, and doing what he told us, what he commanded us. And the next one says وإحياء سنته باطنا وظاهرا, and by reviving the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in secret or apparent in public. وَنَشْرْ مَا بُعِثَ بِهِ, and spreading around what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent with. وَالْجِهَادْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ بِالْقَلْبِ وَالْيَدِ وَاللِّسَانِ, and by doing striving in spreading the commands and the sunnahs of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ through heart, through hands, through tongue. فإن هذه طريقة السابقين الأولين من المهاجرين والأنصار. For indeed this is the way of the سابقين, the foremost of the muhajirin and the ansar. Okay, from the muhajirin and ansar. والذين تبعهم بإحسان, and those who followed them in good. وأكثر هؤلاء الذي تجدهم حرصا على أمثال هذه البدع. Ibn Taymiyyah says, and most of those people that you see who are firm upon this bid'ah of Mawlid, مع ما لهم من حسن القصد, although what they have is pure intention, والاجتهاد الذي يرجى لهم بهما المثوبة, and through their ijtihad in which we ask Allah, we hope that Allah rewards them for it. Now he's talking about the juhal. He's talking about the juhal who do ijtihad or do taqleed before the hujjah, before the burden of proof was established upon them. He's not talking about those who already know that Mawlid is haram and have heard that Mawlid is haram and still do it. Okay? So this is what he is clearly saying. Okay? He says, Ibn Taymiyyah says about these people who have pure intention, who are ignorant, who have pure intention. Okay, because if they knew the haqq, they would follow it. Their intention is pure. But they found through their ijtihad and through their ignorance, they thought that this was they didn't think that it was a bid'ah. They didn't think that Mawlid is a bid'ah. So he said, تجدهم فاترين في أمر الرسول. You see these people, the ignorant people who are firm in Mawlid, who have done ijtihad and thought that Mawlid was halal while it wasn't. You see them that they don't obey they are not active in following the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's comments in Sunnah. They don't follow the Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah. They focus on Mawlid and they leave the Sunnah. They focus on Mawlid and they leave following the Quran. عما أمروا بالنشاط فيه, while they were ordered, the people were ordered to be more active in following the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Quran, and not be more active in following Mawlid. But instead they're more active in following Mawlid and being firm upon it, and leaving the sunnahs of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, other sunnahs, right? So وإنما هم بمنزلة من يحل المصحف ولا يقرأ فيه. So Ibn Taymiyyah is saying that these people are like those people who are ignorant and follow Mawlid. They are like those who decorate the Mus'haf from outside, but they do not read what is inside the Mus'haf, what is inside the Quran. أو يقرأ فيه ولا يتبع, or either they read from the Quran but they do not follow what the Quran says. This Ibn Taymiyyah is comparing them to these types of people. وبمنزلة من يزخرف المساجد وبمنزلة من يزخرف المسجد ولا يصلي فيه أو يصلي فيه قليلا. And they are like these people who celebrate Mawlid throughout of ignorance and ijtihad. They are like those who decorate the mosques, but they do not pray in that mosque, or they pray in this mosque a little bit only and not a lot. وبمنزلة من يتخذ المسابيح, and they are also those people who follow the Mawlid, ignorant people who follow the Mawlid and do this. They are like those who take the sabha, the tasbih, the prayer beads, والسجادات المزخرفة, right? And they are like people who decorate the prayer beads and the prayer mats, right? وأمثال هذه الزخارف الظاهرة التي لم تشرع. And they are like those who decorate many things which have nothing to do with Islam, which means that Mawlid is not in Sharia, is not legislated, right? ويصحبها من الرياء والكبر. Although what they do is they decorate these prayer beads and prayer mats and everything, and mosques, but through these things were not legislated, and rather these things increase. What accompanies these things of decorations and Mawlid and things like that is showing off and kibr and arrogance. والاشتغال عن المشروع ما يفسد حال صاحبها. And he says, and this makes a person more active in these things like decorating mosques, celebrating Mawlid, or decorating prayer beads or decorating Qur'ans and not following what is in it. He says this makes a person more active in these things, corrupt things, decorations. They are busy in these decorations and they leave what is legislated to them by the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, so this is what Ibn Taymiyyah says. By the way, Ibn Taymiyyah here clearly is saying that those who do ijtihad through ignorance, they are ignorant, the hujjah hasn't been established upon them. If their intention is pure, because they believe that if someone came to us and told us that these things are haram, we would follow him, according to the Quran and Sunnah, we would follow him and not be stubborn, these people will be rewarded, not those who are stubborn. And I will prove it, because Ibn Taymiyyah says that people will be rewarded for, ignorant people and mujtahids will be rewarded for doing acts of shirk out of pure intention, because they did not know that this act is shirk, but they follow taqlid. And I will show you. I will expose this guy once for all. And this is what happens when you take the words of the ulama out of context. If we go to Majmu' al-Fatawa, the book Majmu' al-Fatawa for Ibn Taymiyyah, volume 12, okay, we go to page 264 and 265. We start from here, okay, from above, okay. فَمَنْ كَانَ قَدْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, as for those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, وَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بَعْضَ مَا جَاءَ بِهِ الرَّسُولِ, and they did not know about what the Prophet. So basically he's saying فَمَنْ كَانَ قَدْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, those who are Muslims, those are who believe in Allah and His Messenger. وَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بَعْضَ مَا جَاءَ بِهِ الرَّسُولِ, but they were unaware of some things that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent with. فَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِهِ تَفْصِيلًا, then a person does not believe in these things the Prophet ﷺ was sent with out of out of ignorance. So basically he does not know that the Prophet came with this, right? So he did not believe in it, not because he was stubborn, but because he thought that these things are not what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with, while in reality this is what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with. But due to ignorance, he did not believe in it because he thought that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not come with it. إِمَّا أَنَّهُ لَمْ يَسْمَعْ, either this person did not hear that this thing was sent by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, okay, وإما أن أو سمعه من طريق لا يجب التصديق به, or he heard it from a way in which it's not obligatory through that way to believe that this is a sunnah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, well, it is actually, but due to ignorance he didn't believe in it, okay. أو اعتقد معنى آخر لنوع من التأويل الذي يعذر به, or he thought he understood this to be due to a ta'wil, a false ta'wil, okay, in which he is excused from due to his ignorance. فهذا قد جعل فيه من الإيمان بالله ورسوله ما يوجب أن يثيبه الله عليه. Ibn Taymiyyah says this one is a person, this one who does not believe of things that the Prophet Muhammad came with due to ignorance, okay, but he has a pure intention and he's excused for that, his iman in Allah and His Messenger would increase, right? And Allah will reward him for that. So tell me right now, me and this guy, we know that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not come with Mawlid, and we know all the scholars refute Mawlid and see it as an innovation and a bid'ah, right? And we believe in that. Do we have an excuse to say no, we don't believe in that? If I, for example, didn't hear about a certain hadith and I said I don't believe in it unless I see it, and I see it's isnad, right? Does that mean I'm a kafir? No. I will be rewarded due to my ignorance, and this guy as well, okay? And for example, those people who are living in faraway places who commit acts of shirk because Islam did not reach them in their true form, so they're basically Muslims but Islam didn't reach them in the true form, right? They will be excused and they will be rewarded, even though they didn't believe in some of things that came in Islam because no one told them about it, right? So he says, وَمَا لَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِهِ فَلَمْ تَقُمْ عَلَيْهِ بِهِ الْحُجَّةِ الَّتِي يُكَفَّرْ مُخَالِفُهَا. And regarding what this person, this jahil, did not believe in, he didn't believe in a hadith sahih that came from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ due to his ignorance, and the hujjah the burden of proof was not established upon him, then he is not a kafir. Rather, he is rewarded. Okay? This is what Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said. Okay? So, he also says, وأيضا فقد ثبت بالكتاب والسنة والإجماع أن من الخطأ في الدين ما لا يكفر مخالفة. Okay? بل ولا يفسق بل ولا يأثم مثل الخطأ في الفروع العلمية. And Ibn Taymiyyah says, it has been established in the Quran and the Sunnah and the Ijma' that committing a mistake in religion, okay, does not make a person who denies what is established in the Quran and Sunnah due to ignorance, does not make him a kafir. Rather, he is not a fasiq. Rather, he will not be sinful. مثل الخطأ في الفروع العلمية. Okay. وإن كان بعض المتكلم والمتفقه يعتقد أن المخطئ فيها آثم. Even though some of the people of kalam and people of fiqh think that a person will get a sin if he commits a mistake. وبعض المتكلم والمتفقه يعتقد أن كل مجتهد فيها مصيب. And some of the متكلم, people of kalam and fiqh, think that every mujtahid is not wrong, is basically correct. Okay. فهذان القولان شاذان ومع ذلك فلم يقل أحد بتكفير المجتهدين المتنازعين فيها. And even though that was the case, no scholar have ever said that the mujtahideen who differ with one another, they are not kuffar. They never made takfir on them. ومع ذلك فبعض هذه المسائل قد ثبت خطأ المنازع فيها بالنصوص والإجماع القديم، مثل استحلال بعض السلف والخلف لبعض أنواع الربا، واستحلال آخرين لبعض أنواع الخمر، واستحلال آخرين للقتال في الفتنة. So basically Ibn Taymiyyah says here, and even though that was the case through these matters, there has been things that have been established that is wrong, in which there is through the Quran, the Sunnah, and Ijma' in the past. But some of the Salaf and the Khalaf, those who followed them, they accidentally made a mistake in making istihlal, permitting riba, saying that some types of riba is halal, and some of them said that some of the alcohol is halal, some of the khamr, the intoxications are halal, which is not the case, but they made ijtihad. And some of them made istihlal in fighting during fitna, and some of them said it's lawful to fight in fitna. But they were wrong in that. But because of their ijtihad and their ignorance through this, they made a mistake. So through that, they are not kuffar, right? Because there's clearly ijma' that khamr is bad, that all khamr is bad, that all riba is bad, right? So this is what this fool didn't read correctly. So if we go to the book اقتداء الصراط المستقيم في مخالفة أصحاب الجحيم for Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he also clarifies this, that لا حجة في إقرار ربيعة للداعي عند القبر. So basically there is no حجة for Rabi'a who says that a person can do dua in the grave, for a grave, right? Ibn Taymiyyah says here, okay, إنما الذي أراده Rabi'a made this mistake, but what he meant by that والله أعلم أن من كانت له نية صالحة أثيب على نيته. Whoever has a niyyah, a pure niyyah, that he wants to find the truth, okay, he was ignorant regarding a matter, and he became mujtahid, and the hujjah wasn't established upon him, and it did not reach him that what he was doing is wrong, okay. If a person has a pure intention, when it reaches him, when the evidence reaches him that he's wrong, he would follow the correct evidence and leave what he did ijtihad and or was ignorant in. So Ibn Taymiyyah is saying that whoever has a pure niyyah, he is rewarded for it. وَإِن كَانَ الْفِعْلَ الَّذِي فَعَلَهُ لَيْسَ بِمَشْرُوعٍ. Even if he does something, an action like an act of shirk or an act of innovation that was not legislated in the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay? إِذَا لَمْ يَتَعَمَّدْ مُخَالَفَةِ الشَّرْعِ. If he does not intentionally do what? If he does not intentionally have the intention to leave the legislation of Allah and His Messenger. So he says, فَهَذَا الدُّعَاء, him doing dua, in the graveyard. وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ مَشْرُوعًا, even though there's no dalil from the Quran and the Sunnah, it's not legislated. لكن لصاحبه نية صالحة قد يثاب على نيته. But for the person who did it, he did it out of ignorance and he had a pure intention in which he will be rewarded for. So basically we have here again, as we said, that a person who commits an act of shirk or commits an act of what's it called, of innovation, and he is ignorant regarding it, he will be rewarded for it. Okay, and as I've showed before, okay, I've showed before, okay, that a person, okay, person here, okay, let me just go here and see, hold up. And if we go back to the book of Majmu' al-Fatawa, volume 20 for Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, page 33, okay, Ibn Taymiyyah clearly says, لكن قد يفعلها باجتهاد مثله وهو تقليده لمن فعل ذلك من الشيوخ والعلماء. He would be, ignorant person would be doing ijtihad by doing تقليد of the shuyukh and the scholars. والذين فعلوا ذلك قد فعلوه لأنهم رأوه ينفع. And those who did so, they did so because they thought it may benefit, or they thought it has something in the Quran and the Sunnah. أو لحديث كذب سمعوه, or because someone told them a hadith that is fabricated or a lie that they have heard, so they believed in it, they thought it was correct. فهؤلاء إذا لم تقم عليهم الحجة بالنهي لا يعذبون. As for those who the hujjah did not reach them and no person came to them and forbade them from these actions of shirk, okay, or these actions of innovations, okay, then they will not be punished. If hujjah, burden of proof, was not established upon them, they will not be punished. They will be excused for their ignorance and ijtihad. Okay, وأما الثواب فإنه قد يكون ثوابهم أنهم أرجحوا من أهل جنسهم. As for the thawab, they will have a reward for their shirk. Okay, they will have a reward for their shirk, okay, but not for the reward of getting closer to Allah. And this is Ibn Taymiyyah talking about shirk. Okay, وإن كانت من جنس الشرك فهذا الجنس ليس فيه شيء مأمور به لكن قد يحسب بعض الناس في بعض أنواعه أنه مأمور به. Some people may think that this act of shirk that they're doing, which makes them leave the fold of Islam, but due to their ignorance, they think that this act of shirk is part of Islam and it's ordered. And this person may not be a mujtahid, okay, but if he was a mujtahid by following the taqlid of the ulama and this and so, and he was ignorant for the dalil that these acts of shirk that he's doing is haram, okay, فهؤلاء إذا لم تقم عليهم الحجة بالنهي لا يعذبون. As for those, if burden of proof is not established upon them and no one came to them and forbade them from these acts and said these are acts of shirk and innovation, these people, the burden of proof has not been established upon them, so they will not be punished due to their ignorance. وأما الثواب فإنه قد يكون ثوابهم أنهم أرجحوا من أهل جنسهم. But as for the thawab, they will get a reward, okay, but they will not be getting a reward that they're getting closer to Allah through these shirk deeds. So this is how we expose this guy. So I'd like to say again, since we believe that shirk is haram, and we believe these acts are shirk, okay, and there's someone who came and told us these acts are shirk. For example, we're not allowed to prostrate to an idol. If me and you went and prostrated to an idol right now while knowing it is shirk, then we become kafirs, because hujjah has already established to us that we cannot do that. But let's say a person from Pakistan or a desert or a wild area far away, where their shuyukh, they have this type of deviant shuyukh that tell them to prostrate to idols. And so this guy who's ignorant follows his sheikh. He thinks that this sheikh is good and he knows a lot, while this sheikh doesn't know that. He follows him for this ignorance and prostrates to idols and thinks he will get a reward through that, and he thinks it's part of Islam and not shirk, right? This person, through his ijtihad, would be rewarded through their ignorance, because his intention is pure to follow Allah and His Messenger, and no person came to them and told them these acts are haram what they're doing, or that these acts are shirk. So this person will be rewarded and not be punished unless burden of proof hujjah is established upon them. This is how you have to take the word of the scholars, because if that was the case, then you'd be saying that Ibn Taymiyyah says that you'll be rewarded for the acts of shirk. Okay, if you take it out of context, you will say, okay, so that means everyone who knows shirk and does shirk will be forgiven and rewarded. And this is false, because Allah does not forgive shirk. What was meant here, if a person is ignorant or a mujtahid, and the hujjah, burden of proof, did not reach him, and he does these acts with a pure intention, thinking, or through ijtihad, thinking that these acts are part of Islam, they will be rewarded for that, okay, until the burden of proof is established. Once the burden of proof is established upon him, and he continues doing these acts, then his intention is not pure, and he becomes kafir after being told that this act that he's doing is kufr.
وهي على قسمين يا ذا فاسمعي، كونية شرعية هما فعي. كونية ترادف المشيئة، مرادها مجيئه حقيقة. شرعية مرادها لا يلزم وقوعه، محبب محتم. وما أراده لحكمة برى، لوفقها أوجده قد أخبر. ومن له أراد كونا أن يضل، فصدره للضيق نصا قد جعل. كأنما إلى السماء يصعد، وحرجا أي مكان يقعد. ومن به الخير أراد الله، فهو لنور الدين قد هداه. لأنه قد صدق الرسول، فيسر الله له السبيل. ومن لهدي الله والرسول لم يمتثل، فليس بالمقبول. هذا ونحن للإله نشهد، بأنه الله بحق يعبد. نفرده بها تعالى وعلى، حبا وتعظيما وخوفا وولا. ثم استعانة به رجاء، كذلك استغاثة دعاء.